If you were to walk into a kindergarten class and ask 5-year-olds how to be good with money, they would all tell you the same thing. They would say that saving is good and owing money is bad. It is one of the first moral lessons we learn. The saver is the ant, working hard and preparing for winter. The borrower is the grasshopper, lazy and reckless. We carry this story into adulthood. We view debt as a chain around our necks and a savings account as a fortress of safety. But what if I told you that in the modern economic environment, that moral story is mathematically wrong? What if I told you that for the last 50 years, the safe path of hoarding cash has actually been the risky path, and the risky path of owing money has been the safest way to preserve wealth? To understand this, we have to stop looking at money as a store of value and start looking at it as a shrinking measuring tape. Imagine you want to buy a specific house. Today, the price tag on that house is $500,000. You decide to be the responsible saver. You don't want to owe the bank a penny, so you start saving. You work hard. You live frugally. You stack dollar bills in a safe year after year. 10 years go by. You open the safe. You have done the impossible. You have saved exactly $500,000. You feel proud. You walk to the house, ready to buy it with cash. But when you get there, the sign on the lawn has changed. The house is now $1 million. You didn't lose any money. Your stack is still there, but you lost the house. You were running on a treadmill, but the ground was moving backwards faster than you could run. By trying to be safe, you effectively lost half your purchasing power. Now, let's look at the reckless person. Let's call him the borrower. 10 years ago, he didn't have the cash. He walked into a bank and borrowed the $500,000. He signed a contract. He promised to pay it back over 30 years. He moved into the house. He slept in the master bedroom. 10 years pass. The house is now worth $1 million. But here's the magic trick. The bank didn't adjust his debt. The debt is frozen in time. He still owes what he borrowed 10 years ago, minus a little bit that he paid off. So, while the value of the house floated up with inflation, the value of the debt stayed anchored to the floor. This creates a massive gap. That gap is wealth. The saver has zero wealth because he can't afford the asset. The borrower has $500,000 in equity, simply because he locked in the price before the money lost its value. This is the concept of shorting the currency. When you take out a long-term fixed-rate loan to buy an asset, you are making a bet. You are betting that the money you pay back in the future will be worth less than the money you are borrowing today. And in our current system, that is almost a guaranteed bet. Think about the monthly payment on a mortgage from the year 1990. Back then, $500 a month might have felt like a fortune. It might have been half a paycheck. Today, $500 is a grocery run. The number didn't change. The pain of paying it changed. Inflation eats away at the value of your debt. It makes the burden lighter every single year. The bank lends you expensive dollars today, and you pay them back with cheap dollars tomorrow. You are essentially paying the bank back with a currency that is slowly turning into confetti. Now, there is a very important warning here. A massive red flag. This strategy only works if the debt is used to buy an asset that rises with inflation like a house, a business, or gold. If you use debt to buy a car or clothes or a vacation, the math reverses. You are borrowing money to buy something that rots. The car loses value, the vacation is over, but the debt remains. That is bad debt. That is the chain around your neck. But good debt attached to an appreciating asset is a safety hatch. It is a way to freeze your cost of living while your income theoretically rises with inflation. The reason this feels so uncomfortable is that it goes against our instincts. We want to be free. We want to owe nothing to no one. Being debt-free feels like freedom. But in a high inflation world, being 100% in cash is not freedom. It is exposure. If you are holding only cash, you are exposed to the decisions of the central bank. Every time they print money, they are diluting your savings. They are stealing a sliver of your time. When you hold fixed-rate debt, you are shielded from that printing. In fact, when they print money and cause inflation, they are actually helping you. They are making your debt easier to pay off. The biggest entities in the world understand this. Governments act this way. Large corporations act this way. The richest people in the world act this way. They rarely hold massive piles of cash. They hold massive piles of assets, funded by massive piles of cheap debt. They let inflation do the heavy lifting for them. So we have to rewrite the story we tell the 5-year-olds. The saver isn't always the smart one. Sometimes the saver is just the victim of a slow, invisible theft. And the borrower isn't always reckless. Sometimes the borrower is just someone who understood that in a system designed to devalue money, holding onto the debt is safer than holding onto the dollar. The question you have to ask yourself is this: do you want to be on the side of the transaction that gets eaten by inflation? Or do you want to be on the side that gets fed by it?